Hi, welcome into our yoga flow. It's shaped by Kate, and we're going to be working up to a king pigeon pose using our props. So I'll be cueing in straps, blocks, and a blanket. If you don't have those and you're at home, you can use a towel or a sweatshirt for a strap and pillows and blankets for support. Let's start on our backs with our knees bent and go ahead and just lengthen the arms above your head, clasp hands together. And take a deep inhale and exhale here. Start to just bring awareness to your body, how you're feeling today before we start to add movement. Take one breath in here, and on your next exhale, go ahead and release the hands. Cradle your knees into your chest and just find yourself in a tight ball and rock side to side, massaging your spine into your yoga mat. Then clasp your hands behind the backs of your knees and gently roll up, bringing the soles of your feet together, finding a butterfly pose. Hands come to the back of your head, lengthen your spine, and then exhale, hinge at the waist. Inhale to rise back up again. Exhale, hinge at the waist again, opening up our hips and inner thighs. Find your own pace here with your breath in and breath out. On your final hinge forward, go ahead and round the spine and bring your forehead to your toes. Release your hands to the earth. You could also reach them forward if that feels nice. Each exhale, try to press the middle of your back to the ceiling, finding a deeper roundness. Next, inhale in, gently roll your spine back up to an upright position. And go ahead and make your way to a tabletop pose. Shoulders stacked over wrist, hips over knees. And then let's set our blocks where our hands are. If you don't have blocks, that's fine. We're just opening up our shoulders here. Placing your elbows on the block at any height. Go ahead and thread your head through your elbows and sink down in a puppy pose. If it feels nice, those thumbs can stretch back to touch your spine. Breathe here through your shoulders and your lat muscles. Sometimes it feels more stable with those toes curled under, but they can also just be flat on the mat. Each exhale, you're sinking deeper into the earth. And if you're wanting a deeper stretch, go ahead and just hug the armpits down. Beautiful. Inhale to unthread that head from your elbows. Lean forward and walk your knees forward to come out of that pose. If you're using blocks, go ahead and place them at the top of your yoga mat. When you're ready, ground down and lift into your downward facing dog. First downward facing dog of the day. You can find any movement that feels great here. And then when you're ready, look to the top of your mat, walk your feet forward, find a forward fold, letting your head and arms hang heavy. Next, inhale, roll up to our first standing pose, mountain pose. Roll the shoulders back and down. Then we'll start to head into our flow. So tuck the chin, find a forward fold again. Inhale to your half lift to lengthen the spine. In our half lifts today, we're going to find airplane arms behind us, palms facing the ground. Lean a little bit forward and then exhale to find a deeper fold. And then step the left foot back into a low lunge. Knee can be hovering or on the earth. Inhale to extend the arms above your head, and we're going to find namaste hands. Bring them to your forehead. And lean back, finding a little back bend here. Maybe close your eyes if you're feeling balanced or brave. Now let's cartwheel the hands back down, step the right foot back into downward facing dog. Your next breath in, shift into your plank pose, shifting forward. Exhale to chaturanga, all the way to the earth. And then inhale to a cobra pose, opening up the spine. Keep breathing here for about 2 breaths. And then when you're ready, exhale back to downward facing dog. Find an inhale to exhale here, and then step the left foot up to the top of your mat. Find a low lunge on the other side. Reach the arms to the sky. Find that same back bending pose with namaste thumbs to your forehead. Maybe this time your back bend is slightly deeper. Plant the hands back to the floor. Step the right foot up to meet the left and find a forward fold. Inhale to your airplane arm half lift. And then rise, find your mountain pose. Starting that flow all over again, but this time starting with the other side. So roll to your forward fold. Inhale to a halfway lift. Drop the hands to the floor, and this time step the right foot back into your low lunge. Inhale to lengthen the arms. Find your little back bend. This time deeper, maybe you lift the chin a little higher. Next, exhale, plant the hands to the earth. Step back into downward facing dog. Shift forward into your plank pose. Shift forward to prepare. Exhale, chaturanga. All the way to the earth. This time, let's slide the forearms forward and inhale, lift into a sphinx pose. Chin can be neutral, or you can lift the chin high to find a deeper back bend. Trying to lift the belly button to your nose. Good. Exhale to release the spine down. You can rock your hips side to side for a little release. And then prep your forearms again for your Sphinx pose. This time, if you'd like a deeper stretch, press your palms firmly in the earth and lift your forearms away from the yoga mat. Your arms don't have to be completely straight, but just finding that deeper back bend. Let's go ahead and counter pose and find our downward facing dog. Step the right foot up to the top of your mat to find your low lunge on the other side. Inhale to lengthen the arms. Keep that inhale going to find your back bend, and then exhale and inhale here. On your next breath out, release the hands down to the ground. This time, that left foot steps up to meet the right. Find a forward fold. Inhale to your halfway lift, arms behind. And then come to that full standing pose, Tadasana. From this neutral stance, go ahead and heel toe your feet to the outer edges of your mat, toes pointing out, and sit your glutes down into a Malasana squat. If you're needing, you can set that pillow or block underneath your glutes for just a little less weight off of the knees. And then firmly press the palms together and go ahead and point your fingers towards the front of your mat down to the earth. Just kind of draw this half circle up and down with those fingers, sort of stretching out your wrists. Release your hands to the floor and lift back into a half lift to forward fold. Step the right foot back into a pyramid pose, so a nice staggered stance, still folding over that front leg. Be mindful of any weight being distributed into the hands. If you find you hold your shoulders up too much, you can wrap your hands around the front leg, so that way you're totally hanging off the left hip, finding a deeper stretch in both legs. Adding in a warrior 3 variation, bowing forward, lifting that leg a little higher, reaching your swords behind, and then exhale, set the right foot next to the left, find a forward fold, and then step that left foot back behind, find pyramid pose again. Always bringing awareness to how you're holding your body, so you can add in wrapping your legs around that front leg, or you can keep them down on the earth. Inhale to your half lift, airplane arms behind you. And then leaning forward, distribute that weight onto our right foot now. Lift the back heel, followed by the toes, finding warrior 3. Even in this warrior 3, my hips could be a little bit more square, so just remember to keep that left hip down. You can add in that variation by bowing forward, warrior 3 with a bow. Exhale to release the hands down, set that left foot next to the right, forward fold, Uttanasana. And then when you're ready, step back into downward facing dog, release. Inhale, shift forward into plank, exhale to chaturanga all the way to the earth. We're going to find Sphinx pose again, placing our forearms down on the ground. Then for this next pose, I want your palms on your yoga mat. So walk your hips back so that both legs and arms are extended. It's okay if your feet are off the mat here, if you have a pretty short mat. And then on your inhale, I want you to lift your chest high and slide back into that seal pose that we did before. So only using your core to get here, finding that back bending pose. Exhale to release your head back down, lengthen your arms. Beautiful. If you wanted to try that again, go ahead and inhale, slide back into seal pose. Careful not to walk your hands back, just only lift back with your core muscles. If once was enough, you can stay down on your mat. Good. If you haven't released already, go ahead and release and carefully press back into downward facing dog. Walk back more towards the middle of your mat and come into a tabletop pose. On your inhale, extend right arm forward, left leg back, bird dog. Bend the left knee and reach the right arm around for the top of the back foot. Finding our tiger pose. It's okay if your hand can't quite reach. You could also use a strap here if you'd like. Use your exhale breath to release. Set your right arm down and then sweep that left knee forward and around your right knee. Slide the tops of the feet to the outer edge of your mat and then walk your hips down onto the earth, stacking your knees. Finding our cow leg position. Both hips should be grounded. If you need a blanket or a pillow for support, use that here underneath that left hip or your left knee. If you're wanting to add cow arms, lengthen that right arm to the sky, left arm wraps around, reaches for that right shoulder blade, and your fingertips reach for each other. You can hinge at your waist to find a deeper stretch or stay upright. Listening to your body and your breath as we're in cow pose. If you're hinged forward, go ahead and sit upright and release your arms from this position. Set your palms behind you for support, lengthen the legs in front of you, and then we're going to immediately fold over, find a pike pose. Beautiful extension here from our cow pose. Inhale to release. We're headed into a double pigeon, so we're gonna stack the shins. Let's stack the left shin over the right. The left edge of the foot can be as high as your inner thigh or even as low as your calf muscle. And then you can either stay here, hinge forward, or you can roll over those stacked shins. Find what works for you. If it's too intense, find a butterfly pose. Relax here for about 2 to 3 inhales and exhales. Next inhale, let's release from that double seated pigeon and find tabletop pose. We're heading straight to the other side, so once you get here, go ahead and inhale. Lengthen the left arm forward, right leg back, bend the right knee, and reach that left hand for the right foot. Finding our tiger pose, other side. Hips are nice and open here, hips and shoulders. Each inhale, you're finding a little bit more of a back bend, and exhale, you're grounding down with that left shin and right palm. Next, exhale, you can release this tiger pose. Sweep that right knee forward, wrap it around your left knee. Pivot the tops of the feet to the edges of your mat, and walk your hips back down to the earth, finding cow legs. This side might look a little different. Maybe you just do cow legs. Maybe this side you add in props for that right hip. Or maybe this side you add in the cow arms. This time the left arm reaches to the sky, and that right arm wraps around your lower back and reaches for the left shoulder blade. Bending both elbows, the fingers are reaching towards each other, finding that full cow pose. Test out this pose here. You can stay in the upright position, or you can hinge at the waist, finding a deeper stretch in those hips. We want our hips nice and open for pigeon and king pigeon. So listen to your body and find whichever variation works for you. Go ahead and sit back in that upright position. Release your arms, release your legs forward. Shake out the knees. This time in our forward fold, we're going to tilt the toes towards each other and then find that fold, just so we're stretching a different part of our hamstring. If that doesn't feel comfortable for your knees, just find a normal forward fold here. Beautiful. Find a half lift and then bring the heels together and drop the toes to the outer edges of your mat, stretching more of our hamstring muscle. Again, if that doesn't feel great for your knees, find a normal forward fold. Release this forward fold and let's head into our double seated pigeon on the other side. This time the right leg stacks over the left shin, and maybe this side, that edge of the right foot can go a little higher, more closer to your inner thigh. If not, it slides more down your calf muscle. Folding over both of your legs if that feels nice, or again, maybe just sitting in an upright position is opening up those hips really nicely. On that next breath in, release from your double-seated pigeon and make your way to a tabletop pose. Next, we're going to gather our props. So grab what you're using for a blanket as supporting your femur bone. You can switch up the heights, a block for your hand, and a strap for your foot. With our strap, we're going to make a medium-sized circle. So go ahead and lengthen it out and thread one end through both loops and thread it back one so you can adjust the size of your loop. You can sort of just guess here for your pigeon as you think about reaching your hand to your foot and thinking about how long or short you'd like that distance to be. Once you've got that strap figured out, you can set it off to the side and we're going to head into our pigeon pose. From your tabletop, lengthen that right leg behind and then sweep it to the top of your mat, shin and thigh bone falling to the earth. If your thigh bone doesn't have any support, use that blanket. To test it out, we're going to bend the back knee. If the foot falls to the right, you just need more support for that femur bone. Your next inhale, reach that left hand back to the left foot and catch hold of the top of the foot if you can. Then let's head into our mermaid pose. So hug the heel into your glute and then walk your hand and forearm down the top of your foot, hooking that foot into your elbow. Reach the right fingertips to the left. Inhale, open up your chest and find a back bend and find that mermaid pose. After a round of breath, release and we'll head straight into king pigeon pose. So reach for your strap and loop it around the back of your foot. And then we're going to square our shoulders forward elbow following with it. So if you feel like you can't square your shoulders forward, you can lengthen your straps. Right now I'm holding at the very end of my strap and I can square forward. If that's too long, then you grab onto the loop, or even you can go ahead and pause the video and shorten that strap again. Press your chest forward, and if you don't need that right hand on that block or earth for support, you can reach and grab the strap along with your left hand. Hug the elbows together, puff up your chest, and breathe here in your pigeon pose, your king pigeon. At any point here, you can find a modification. Try to think about touching the toes to your forehead. This is a really intense pose, so you can hold for as short as just a half breath or as long as 8 rounds of breath. When you're ready to release, we're just finding a normal pigeon pose, nice and relaxed, folding over that front leg. If you find that there's too much pressure on that front knee from holding it there too long, you can always bend the back knee to release any pressure or weight. Think back on how that pigeon pose went, and then let's head to the other side. So go ahead on your next inhale, walk your hands back to an upright position, and then let's counter pose this pigeon pose. Find a downward facing dog. Lengthen both legs, lengthen your spine. And then find tabletop position. Let's reposition our props here. So if you're using that support for your femur bone, slide it over to the left. Grab a block for your hand and place your strap on the more right side of your mat. Lengthen the left leg behind you and sweep it forward. Find your pigeon pose. Hug in both the front and back leg towards each other so you can find this little lift from the earth. Think of pigeon pose like a leg balancing position. Test out that back leg by bending the knee, making sure that heel is directly over the hamstring. Reach the right arm back towards the right leg, catching hold of the top of the foot, and finding mermaid pose. Hug the heel towards your glute, slide your forearm down the top of your foot, and then reach the left fingertips towards the right. Inhale to open up into a mermaid pose. You may feel your breath shorten here. Just remember to keep breathing in and out. Exhale to release. Let's head into king pigeon on the other side. Grab your strap. If you already know you might want to shorten or lengthen it, you can do that here. Loop it around the back of your foot. Palm faces to the sky, and then rotate your shoulders and elbows to the front of the mat. As you're breathing in, you're opening up your chest, finding a back bend in your upper body, and then maybe that left hand reaches up to the strap, and you find your king pigeon pose. Your chin can lift towards the ceiling to find a deeper back bend, thinking about now the right toes touching your forehead. Find your deepest progression for at least a half breath. As you're coming out of this pose, come out very gently, releasing the strap behind you, and then we're going to fold over that front knee, finding a passive pigeon pose. Maybe it feels nice here, or maybe you want that weight taken off of the front knee. You can bend the back leg. Next breath in, let's lengthen the legs and spine, sweep that left leg back to downward facing dog. Find a nice length in both the hamstrings and spine. We're almost done here for today. Beautiful flow. From this down dog, let's head into our tabletop pose and straight into a child's pose. Just hugging it in, releasing any energy down into the earth. Maybe even rolling your forehead into the mat. When you're ready, transition into a seated position. Take your time here as you find your pose. Taking this moment to reflect on your practice, bringing your hands to heart center, bowing forward as respect towards your yoga practice. Namaste.